You're listening to C103's Cork Today podcast. Phone and text lines are currently closed.
C103.
And it's heads to the Health Hub Times Square in Ballincollig. Anneliese joining me. Good afternoon to you, Anneliese.
Good afternoon, Patricia.
And you're very welcome. And we've had a text in, it came bright and early this morning from Margaret. A question for Anneliese, please. What would she recommend is the best treatment for insect bites? My daughter-in-law is in Spain at the moment on holidays and she's after getting a number of nasty insect bites. What would you suggest?
Okay, well, always with natural medicine, really, Patricia, the best is prevention rather than cure. So, because she's so many bites at the moment, I'd actually probably recommend that she'd go into a pharmacy and get a antihistamine and an antihistamine cream. And maybe if she's been scratching, even an antibiotic cream, because what can happen is they get more and more infected. So a lot of people are allergic to insect bites. If you're going somewhere on holidays where you know you're going to get bitten, and actually in Ireland at the moment there's a load of midges, I've been bitten alive. So the best thing to do really is to prepare yourself by starting to take a vitamin B1 supplement, high strength. So B1 is one of the B complex vitamins, and apparently it comes through the skin, and the insects and mosquitoes don't like the smell of it on the skin. Some people also say that taking garlic has the same result. You'd want to be doing that at least 2 weeks before you go on your hauls, and then take it throughout your holidays. In terms of putting something on yourself, the best natural one would be things like clove oil, tea tree oil, and citronella oil. And we get great feedback on an insect repellent called Incognito. So you just would spray that on the exposed skin when you're going out at night time. And you could also, if you had the citronella essential oil, which isn't expensive, you could just put a drop or two of that into your body lotion or into your sun cream even during the day to prevent that biting during the day. And then once you've been bitten, taking something called Apis meal. Now, she probably would be able to get that on holidays because a lot of those pharmacies in the continent are great with homeopathic remedies. So Apis meal is a very good one if you're allergic or if you've reacted to insect bites, to bring the swelling and the itching down very quickly.
Yeah, and she's probably lucky that it's happened in Spain because the pharmacies over there are able to sell products that we can only get on prescription over here.
Absolutely. Now, the most thing that they'll give people actually as an insect repellent is DEET, D-E-E-T, which works brilliantly, but my God, it's toxic. So,
is it? Okay.
Really use it sparingly. It's really toxic, Patricia. Like, I think it's nearly it was used as a nerve gas, I think, in the Vietnam War. It's toxic. Not as a nerve gas, sorry. It was used as to get the trees rid of the leaves in the trees when they were hunting the Viet Cong. Okay. That's what it is.
Wow.
So it's fine to use. You're better off using it if you're going to a place where there's going to be malaria, because you really don't want to get malaria, and your body will cope with a little bit of it, but don't use it every day of the summer.
Okay, Mary says, could you ask Anneliese, please, what would she recommend for high sugar levels? I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Any medication they've given me not agreeing with me, and the next step they're suggesting is insulin, which I prefer not to take. Would you have any suggestions to help me to lower high sugar levels?
Yes, well, there was one brilliant natural herb, Patricia, called berberine that we were selling, and I was seeing amazing results with it here with customers, and of course we have now been told that we're no longer allowed to sell it. So it went off our shelves about a month ago, unfortunately, but that worked really, really well. You could maybe get your doctor to, I don't know, can you be ordered on prescription? I don't think it probably will become a pharmaceutical at some point. Or you could maybe get it overseas, or if you know someone living in America or in Germany or France, any place like that, the UK, they'll be able to buy it over the counter there. So that was very, very successful, the berberine. In the absence of that, what have we got in Ireland at the minute? Okay, so a couple of different things may help. The first one is bitter melon. It's actually a typical Indian Ayurvedic remedy. And in actual fact, they eat bitter melon quite a lot in India, where they have one of the fastest growing numbers of type 2 diabetics in the world. So you can buy that as a supplement to Terra Nova. I know do that, and you can buy that in any health shop. Alpha-lipoic acid is also another very good one. It helps in terms of protecting cells from damage from elevated blood sugar as well, and that's available in Ireland. And the last thing then maybe would be chromium. Now, chromium is a mineral that can be hard to get in the diet, and it helps improve the cell's ability to bind on to, to bind on to insulin, to open up the gates to allow glucose in. So you could try the three of those Unfortunately, the berberine probably would have done those jobs. But, and if you can get your hands on that, that would be definitely my number one recommendation.
Okay, hi. Mouth ulcers, says the listener. I get them every few months. It's always on one side of my mouth and also the inside of that cheek. It feels raw when I get them. Any advice, please?
Yes, that mouth ulcers are horrible, Patricia, because they're very painful and they can affect the way that you eat and everything like that. It's strange that they're on one side of the mouth only. That's unusual, but it could be just maybe, I don't know, would you be possibly chewing her cheek if she's stressed or whatever? But in my experience, mouth ulcers often happen if people have been very sick or run down or if they're very stressed. A lot of the time people are allergic to something called sodium lauryl sulfate, which they add as a foaming agent to lots of products, including toothpaste. So if you go for a natural toothpaste, that's definitely the best way to try and avoid getting them in the first place. You can even get natural toothpaste with fluoride if you're worried about lack of fluoride. And then the other thing I would recommend is colloidal silver to spray on. So basically, it's just tiny nanoparticles of silver which have great antibacterial and healing properties in a suspension. And so you buy it as a spray in a health shop and you would just spray it onto the sores and it can help heal them up quicker. It certainly prevents them from getting infected and speeds up the healing. But the natural toothpaste, Patricia, I think is key. And if you wanted to take something, always vitamin C and zinc are very, very important for skin healing. So maybe a deficiency in either of those might lead to more mouth ulcers. So I definitely would just take those just to be on the safe side. And they often come together. I know Viridian do a vitamin C and zinc together.
Okay, Katrina is running the Dublin City Marathon. Go Katrina in October and is right in the middle of training programme at the moment. Now, the reason she texts, she says, I don't want to be sick leading up to the marathon. As with everybody back to school in the autumn, viruses are likely to be circulating. What can I take to build up my immune system? Because I got that awful 100-day cough last year.
Oh, God love us, yeah, that was very, very common. There's a couple of things I would recommend, and it's brilliant that she's looking at prevention rather than cure, because in actual fact, Patricia, when you've been training very hard and when you do a big event, people often get very sick afterwards. And that reason is that when you're training hard, your body thinks it's in fight or flight mode. So it's not really that important that your body is fighting viruses and bacteria. So you can actually get quite sick when you're coming down after a lot of training. So in terms of supporting, there's a couple of different things I would recommend. One of them is One Nutrition P4 Immune. Now this is a blend of a number of different things, but for the immune system, but very importantly as well, lots of natural anti-inflammatories, which would be very important when you're exercising because you're actually producing a lot of pro-oxidant chemicals. So these natural anti-inflammatories and natural antioxidants would mop them up, and it'll prevent long-term, inflammation and improve performance and make you less subject to injury. So the P4 Immune, I would say, is definitely a must. And then I would take something with echinacea in it, because echinacea ramps up your white blood cells, and they're your first line of defense against viruses and bacteria. So I would take it absolutely every single day. And then make sure you're taking your vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, the three of those together, because if you become deficient in those at any stage, that's when you will get sick. So they would be the three things I would highly recommend for anybody who's training heavily, or even if you're in a very busy life or very stressful period of time. They're the things that will keep your immune system propped up.
And I love this one from Winnie to say, a very itchy scalp which is not caused by dandruff. I'm a lady with natural white hair who doesn't want her white hair stained by anything I would apply. Great programme. Thanks, that's from Winnie. Itchy scalp.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that I could, it's strange that she says she's no dandruff, because normally when people have an itchy scalp, it's because it's become dry. So it's either maybe a little bit of dermatitis or it's a little bit of dandruff. In this case, if there's nothing like that, maybe she's just reacting to her hair product. A lot of people buy purple shampoo, to keep their hair looking nice and white. So maybe you're allergic to something in that. So my advice would be to switch over to a very gentle shampoo specifically designed for itchy scalp. The Hopes Relief one is very, very good. And it's very good if you've got psoriasis or dermatitis or dandruff or itchy scalp in general. It's hopes relief, and it shouldn't colour your hair at all because there's no colour to it. So it shouldn't make any difference to the colour of your hair whatsoever.
Okay, Anya. Hi, Anneliese. Can you suggest anything for a puffiness under the eyes and black circles? I continuously look like I'm wrecked. I'm in my mid-60s.
Yeah, I'd say now, unfortunately, genetic is a large part to play with it. That. If you go onto YouTube, Patricia, the amount of tutorials to show you how to hide under eye bags and puffy eyes is for older women is phenomenal. So it's a really, really common problem. Sometimes if you've dark circles under your eyes, it could mean that you were deficient in iron. So it's possible that that's leading to the black circles. It's very common for people who are low on iron. So maybe get your blood checked by your doctor, or even just try an iron supplement for 2 months and see does that help with the dark circles. The puffiness is another thing, Patricia. Like sometimes we do retain water and people would get puffy eyes. So in that case, you should be drinking lots and lots of water to keep flushing the body. I know it's counterintuitive if you're holding in water, but drinking plenty water, making sure you watch your salt intake in processed foods. So you could actually add a pinch of sea salt or Himalayan salt to your water to make sure that's giving you all the electrolytes that your body needs to be able to get rid of water properly, but not the sodium salt side of it. That would be very bad for that you find in processed foods. So drink plenty water. You might benefit maybe from a natural diuretic. So nettle is very good as that. Dandelion and burdock are very good for those things. And then other than that, I'm afraid probably surgery is, especially if it's skin puff, if it's not water retention, if it's skin, it's very genetic, Patricia, unfortunately. There's a big industry around the puffy eyes in older ladies.
I certainly notice I get it after being on an aeroplane, but then it goes away within,
and
the following
that's water
day.
retention, and that would be very common for people as well, would notice that their ankles would get very swollen. It's all water retention from sitting down. And just being up at that pressure in that pressurized cabin would has an effect on the way we retain water. So it's likely to be water retention. So if you go down the route of the nettle tea, dandelion tea, burdock tea, you can also get natural diuretic tablets in health shops. So go into your local health shop and see what they've got, and that might help. Oh, and actually, Patricia, just using chamomile tea bags on the eyes is brilliant. So boil up the kettle and soak the chamomile tea bag in a little bit of boiling water. Let it cool down. Even better, put them into the fridge. Let them get very cold, and then put them on the eyes for at least 5 or 10 minutes at night. And do that consistently, and that'll bring the puffiness down as well.
And relax and meditate and listen to some nice music at the same time. Yeah, you'll benefit. Hi, Anneliese. Any advice for fungal infection in toenails, which is leading to very thick nails? That's from Mary.
Yeah, it's a very common problem, Patricia. I'd say I have nearly a person a day coming in with that problem. It's very, very hard to get rid of fungal toenails. The best thing that I've seen work is the grapefruit seed extract. So it's the extract of grapefruit seed, and the product that you'll have to buy is called Citricidal, and it's by a company called Higher Nature, and it's a liquid. So what I suggest people do is that they put a bit onto a cotton pad and wipe it all around the whole toe in the morning and the evenings every single day. So before you get dressed and when you get undressed. And then at least twice a week, put at least 10 or 15 drops of it into warm water and do a foot bath so it gets right in under the toe. I would add a couple of drops to the washing if you're putting your socks into the washing so that it kills off the fungus that gets stuck in socks. And I think as well it's good to use it, wipe it onto the inside of any kind of cloth shoes that you might be wearing. So like most people's trainers now are made of cloth and not leather. So clean the inside of it regularly with the grapefruit seed extract and be patient. It's going to take 6 to 12 months for it to clear. The nail possibly will go black, and it'll be new nail coming up that you will see is looking healthy. It's not going to do cure anything with the old nail. You'll have to wait for that.
It just has to grow out, and your toenails just take forever to grow out.
Forever.
Yeah. I banged my toe last year, and it all blackened. It's literally, I'm still waiting for the thing to grow out fully, but it's nearly gone. Okay, and have I time for one more quick one? I do. What would you recommend for cholesterol? Liz says, I'm on a cholesterol tablet with months, but it's just not suiting me, and I'm watching what I eat. What else would you suggest?
So you could try the natural statin. So it comes from red rice yeast extract. It does exactly the same as the statin, but for some reason, people who often have side effects from the drug manage on this perfectly well. It mostly comes packaged with something called coenzyme Q10, which actually counter-affects any possible negative side effects of the natural one as well. So Maconta is a brand. They do a lovely one. Cardio K, it's very successful. Lots of people have taken it over the years here in the shop, and it works brilliantly.
Okay, and you're not on your own. There's a lot of people can't take a statin. It can have huge side effects of muscle pain, isn't it, is the main one?
Muscle pain, because it blocks the production of something called coenzyme Q10, which is a really important vitamin for all of the energy pathways. And if your cells are not producing enough energy, that's when your muscles get sore. But actually, if you think about your brain, Patricia, and how much energy your brain needs, and your heart as well. So anybody who is on a statin drug, I would really recommend that they take a Q10 with it, and then that'll help balance out the side effects, the worst of the side effects. But if you can take the natural one instead with the Q10 in it, then there seems to be far less effects across the board.
Okay, have a lovely week. We'll chat to you next Monday.
Thanks, Patricia.
Thanks, Anneliese. That's Anneliese Dressel, Health Hub, Times Square in Ballincollig. This afternoon, Anneliese will put up all of the items that we spoke about on her website, which is healthhubstore.com.